Hello, welcome to another show with Conversations with Dr. De Silva. Thank you. We have another guest here, actually a repeated guest, a regular guest, Haim, good friend of mine. And Haim, welcome.
Good evening. You're welcome, and I'm glad to be here. Yeah, and I become kind of regular.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, I enjoy your company. I enjoy your show, and if I have something to share, to educate, to give it to the world, I will do.
And for those who have not met you, who unfortunately have missed my show, which you should not have missed my show, and have not seen Haim on some of the other shows, Haim, tell me what you do.
I am a life and business coach. Yeah, and I love to help people get what they want from life. Yeah, which is mean every person have a dream, have a goal, have a target, and sometimes it's hard to achieve it by yourself, and not sometimes, it's all the time. By yourself, you're limited what you can do. So when you have another person that believe in you and support you, yeah, and go hand in hand with you, it's easier for you to get what you're looking for.
And what are we talking about today? What is the topic today?
This exactly that, which is we need to do today more vitamin C.
Vitamin C, what are you talking about?
When
Is this a nutrition show that we're talking about today?
No, it's not a nutrition. When I talk about vitamin C, it's communication. We lack of communication, which is mean today with all the technology and what we have, yeah, so we stop to talk to people. We just stop to talk to people with texting. Yeah, when you text, you even cut the word in only to one letter. If I want to say you, I just write the letter U, and you know what I mean by that. And we can hiding. I mean, what? We're not going to talk to people anymore. It's start to become a habit, and we need to go back to the old time, the old day.
The basics, huh?
Yeah, which is we communicate with people, we talk to people.
Well, you're talking to something really close to my heart, Haim, which I think, for years I've had this thing called Text-Free Saturdays, which I encourage people on Saturday from 9 a.m. to Sunday to 9 p.m. to contact a family member or a friend which I haven't spoken to quite a long time, get a comfortable chair, get their favorite drink. Hopefully if they have a landline still, use that instead of their cell phone or their smartphone, and communicate with people. But that's something that is very near to my heart. As a matter of fact, over the years I've done some lectures, discussion groups in various different libraries, and the one that every year I go back to these libraries to do other topics and so on, and other subject matters, and I say, oh, this year we're going to talk about this. And they say, no, do the one that you did last year. Am I thinking, which one are you referring to? They pull out the flyer, and the title is, the more technologically connected we are, the more disconnected we become. So this is exactly what you're talking about.
Yes,
people,
exactly.
Yes.
I mean, we start to less talk to people, and the irony here, yeah, when to be a leader and to create either community or society or movement, you have to talk. You can't send text to 100,000 people and people will follow you. It doesn't work that way. You need to be up and speaking in your face, in your mouth to the people that you want to be, that want to be participating in what you provide for them. Mm-hmm. And that is the key. I mean, and how to do that? I mean, how to take people to stop from using all those devices, right, and start to, it's a challenge. It's a big challenge now.
Why do you think it's such a challenge, Ryan?
Because when we communicate, that's the interesting part. When we communicate, there is two places that we communicate, which is mean we have the inside, what's going on inside our head, yeah, and this outside, the way it's come outside. And if there is disconnection between that, we rather not to talk. We rather to keep our mouth shut. Yeah, not to say anything, not to embarrass yourself, or it's not you think that it will come out right. So you don't talk, you don't say anything. And the key, why it's happened, because we talked about that in the past. I mean, when
Yes.
we meet people, I mean, we shake hands and right away we go to what we do for a living, which is not who we are. Yeah? So, and we need to spend some time and to find out what we made from, what we love to do, what kind of value that we have, because that's going to come out as you speak.
Right.
Yeah. Now, when you have the correlation between what you say and what you think, yeah, everything come right. When you have disconnected, yeah, between what you think and what you say, it don't come right. I don't want to say the word wrong, but it's not coming in the right way. Which is mean, it's come in your vocabulary, it's come with your emotion that you state with the sentence, yeah. And some people sensitive to stuff like that, and that's affect you. If you want to do something, yeah, you don't have people that will follow you,
Right.
yeah. So the first thing to do is to find out who are you as a person, which is mean what kind of value you operate from. Yeah, and there is a list of value that usually we take the top 5 to 10 value, and this is what we call core value.
Okay.
That change from person to person. When you're in your 20, so the family value, it's very low on the list. When you get married, the family value all of a sudden jump up. The family, especially when you have a kid,
Right.
so now the family value, they have more priority, they're on the top of the list.
So you're saying throughout your lifetime that perhaps the values that you had, that you perhaps cherished and was more of a priority for you at one point in time, at one stage in your life, was more of a priority, and you held that to a higher state. Perhaps at a different time in your life, that value, it may still be there, but not have such a high priority.
Yeah, there is this kind of value that can change, but there is value that stay forever.
Okay.
Which is mean, if you're honest person, you're honest person. That's not change in time. If you compassion, it's not change with time. Yeah. If you have high integrity, that's not change in time. But you need to find that out, which is mean you need to highlight that when you speak to people. Which is mean you can trust me. I'm trustworthy. Yeah. When I say something, I deliver. Yeah. And if I'm honest with you, I'm honest with you.
Right.
You don't need to think twice, or you don't need to juggle yourself, your mind, on what I mean by that.
Right.
It's not supposed to be that way. It's not. There is no hidden message as we communicate. And when you have a lot of hidden message, yeah, people lose trust. People lose track. Yeah, and they say, why I need to bother if I need to struggle in my head? What do you mean by that? That's when we have disconnected between what we think and what we say.
Okay.
Now, why it's come like that? Because a lot of the time we don't want to offend people. We
You don't want to
to
offend people.
right.
Okay.
We don't want to offend people. We don't want to intrigue people. We don't want people feel bad. So we choose all kind of way out, which is not exactly match, just to pass by, and that's not supporting you. That's not helping you.
Right.
I rather to know if you can do it or you can't, but don't tell me story maybe.
Right.
Yeah, when you use a lot of maybe, or I'm gonna try. Yeah, when people say me I'm gonna try, I know it's not gonna come. It's not gonna do anything. There is no trying. Yeah, when you say maybe, which is mean, why the maybe? What there is condition there? Yeah, so I don't expect everybody to put to give attention to all kind of this word, just be straight. Just connect directly. Just say what you think. Say
Right.
what you do. Say what do you mean. Okay? In the beginning, it's hard because we're not used to that. As I mentioned, we don't want to offend people. We don't want to challenge people. We don't want to hurt anybody feeling. So we use all this kind of word that not supporting us, not supporting the cause, not support everything.
Right.
Either you do or you don't. There is no in the middle.
Exactly. So let me ask you this, because one thing you said that sometimes some of these values may be constant throughout your whole life. If you're honest, you're honest. If you have integrity, and so on. Do you believe that some people that perhaps at one point in time weren't honest? Something happened, some event, some kind of light bulb, or something happened that they realized, you know what? From this point on, I'm going to be an honest person, or from this point on, I'm going to be a person of integrity. So that's a situation where perhaps at one point in time they were not, but now they chose to be. So you think that could be a case? Or are those like the exceptions, but not the rule?
It's funny that you mentioned that, but when case like that happen, and it's happened, it's come from different place, which is mean, we know that when the emotion came up, the logic go out.
Okay.
When the emotion came in, the logic go out. So most of us are a logic person, logic people. We analyze everything through logic and common sense. Yeah. When
Common sense is not so common anymore.
it's not. That's what happened when the feeling coming in, the logic going out, and it's go with the common sense also going out. So you will start to behave with somebody that sometimes you don't like the way you behave, but you don't have control on that. Yeah, and you can see all of a sudden people behaving. I didn't know that he's this kind of person. I didn't know that he's going to react to that. I don't know him as that way. And that moment, that's what happened. When you trigger some emotion in him, that's what came out. Yeah. And again, sometimes we don't want to offend people, we don't want to intrigue people, we don't want to hurt people. So now we start to play with our emotion. When you play with our emotion, you play with yourself, you play with fire.
Okay.
Because the emotion control you. We kind of guided to ignore our emotion. If we go back in time, say when you cry, oh, don't cry, it's 5 minutes, it's going to be away. Stop crying like a baby. Mm-hmm. Or big girl, don't cry. Just mean those emotions that we want to express out because we feel something.
Right.
So when you come and you stop that, you don't know when it's coming. When it show up, you don't know what to do. You're kind of stuck.
Right.
Yeah, so it's come sideways. To avoid that, it's start to live your emotion. Start to realize when they come, what triggered them. It's not easy. It's not easy job.
Not easy job to identify what triggered your
Yes.
emotions? Okay.
I mean, if you investigate, I mean, for me it's easy. I can explain that because I learn about that. And usually what triggers the emotion is three things, three switches that we have in our mind since we equipped with that. And they come to support us to survive in life. But we use them in the other way around, which is mean nobody love me, nobody care, nobody appreciate. That's what triggers those switches that you react emotionally
Okay.
to that. When you think about that, I mean, you need to love yourself. You don't wait for somebody else to love you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to care about what you do. If you expect other people to care about that, it's not going to happen. So if you don't care, you want me to care? And appreciation. I mean, if you do something that you don't appreciate, you don't expect other people to appreciate that.
and this we did touch upon this on a previous show, but going back to the topic for today, communication, and I always over the years always say communication is everything, and it's become a cliche for a reason. Things become a cliche because either happens so often that people have accepted, society have accepted as something that yeah, it's true. But I think communication in various different contexts means different things for different people. So communication for when you talk about a couple, who was it? Dr. Gray talking about his book that he has, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and he talks about how communication, how males and females listen to each other, how they listen and how they communicate. That within that context, what one person is hearing and what the other person is saying, it's not synchronizing. So it's like you have different languages. So there's that communication within that context. Communication when you're talking about, when you're dealing with international politics or governmental politics, are people really listening to each other? So communication in that sense, or communication between, kids, communication between a parent and a child. So I think communication within each context means something different for each person depending where it's coming from.
Well, it's you're right about that, but the bottom line, is you want to deliver message,
Right.
and you receive from other person message.
Okay.
I mean, the first key when you want to communicate in the right way, you need to listen. You need to listen to what the other person said, and observe it and leave it like you are the person. Because when you listen, there is a kind of way that people listen. There is people that listen in order to respond, and there is listening in order to understand. Which part are you participate? You want to understand or you want to respond? Now, when you want to respond, you're not listening.
Right.
Because I say something and you start to rehearse the answer in your head, you just wait until I'm done and
Right.
you talk. In the meantime, you didn't listen to the rest of
So do you
that.
think the majority of people in very different contexts around the world right now as we're speaking are engaging in more of what you just described, or they're just waiting for an opportunity to respond, or they're really engaging in active listening, which is a practice?
You can, when you step outside of the conversation, you can see it. When you're in the conversation, you don't see it. When you're part of that, it's hard for you to observe, because when you're in the picture, you don't see the frame.
So you saying I'm not really listening to you right now? I'm in the conversation with you.
I'm listening to you. When you speak, I'm listening to you.
Okay.
I don't react to what you say. I respond to that. I know that, so I try to educate. I try to help some other people to do the same, because that will help. That will help other people. When you want to communicate, if you talk about orange and I bring apple to the table, it's obvious you didn't listen to me. You didn't hear what I said. How many times you heard that? You didn't hear because I didn't hear what you said. So I was busy doing something else. Even I keep my mouth shut, I was doing something else that listening wasn't there.
Do you think that communication has my sister taught me something a few months back, and she mentioned just terminology which I never heard of before, called right fighters. And I've engaged in many conversations, particularly on social media, particularly Facebook, where we feel that like some people you're talking to, regardless of facts, regardless of, common sense and logic, whatever it may be, that they're just more concerned about being right, regardless. So when you engage in that kind of communication, where the person doesn't matter what you say, that they're not interested in listening, they're interested in being right, they're interested in winning that conversation. What do you do in a scenario like that, where you could perhaps change the dynamics of the conversation, where if that person is kind of a right fighter, all they're concerned about is winning no matter what, because what's attached to their conversation and what they're communicating, what they're saying, it's attached to their ego.
I understand. And what I say to that is, you win the battle, you don't win the war.
Okay.
Yeah, which has been, you want to be right, be right. How is that serving you?
That's a good question.
How is that serving you? Where do you take it? To what level you take it that? In the end of the day, when you want to be right, which is mean you have something behind you that you want to promote. So if you expect people to follow you, yeah, and you want to be the right one and they're wrong, they're not going to follow you. So you win the battle. Okay, you're right. But I'm not with you.
Right.
So in the end of the day, you're losing. You're losing the war. If that's what you want, go ahead and do it. Yeah. You can antagonize people and people will follow you. It's not going to happen. Yeah. So when you deliver a message, I mean, you're supposed to deliver the message the way that what you think and what you feel is the same thing. Which people hear it very clearly. We use emotion all the time, yeah, which don't know that it's control us. We're not used to that. Yeah? So when you start to get used to that, all of a sudden, more things came up that help you to communicate much, much better. You look for sympathy, so there is a level of sympathy that's in you that you deliver through the message. People will follow that. Not all of them people that believe in that believe in you, that trust what you said. But it's a go to the value that you operate from, that go along with you no matter where you go, no matter what you do. So, the funny part, when we communicate, yeah, because we don't know who we are on the most part. Yeah, we know what we do more in close. We know more about what we do than we know who we are.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, when you know who you are, yeah, it's easy for you to deliver the message. Now, we know who we are according to other people. Other people tell you, Cello, you're great. And you go around now, you're great. Why? People told you. People told me I'm great. People told me I'm this and that. Sometimes it's in conflict in what you think about yourself. But you like the compliment and you run with that. This is not supporting you. This is not helping you. When some people come and tell you something that you don't want to hear it, that shake you up. And when that is come from, because you don't put a lot of attention to know who you are. When you know who you are, nobody can shake you. Nobody can come and tell you something that startle you.
Okay.
You understand what I mean by that?
No, I totally understand that.
Yeah. So this is the key. You need to know who you are. You don't need other people to tell you.
So who are you, Chaim?
I will tell you. I'm an honest person. I have high integrity. I'm highly compassionate, yeah, and I care. So when somebody come and gonna tell you something else or tell me something else, well, that's your opinion. You just don't know who I am. You didn't take the time to find out. And many times, what happened, you hear other people would say about cello. Yeah, I want to talk to you about the third party. Cello, do you know this guy? You have opinion. Yeah? Why I need to ask you? I need to go to him and sit down and talk to him and know about him, not through you, through him. We do that a lot. We go to know about the third party, we ask somebody that know him, and we ask about him. Now you get opinion.
Right. Now, do you think people do that because, like, for example, because I know who you are, you know, like you're a person of integrity, a person of honesty, compassion. So I value your opinion. I know it's just an opinion. I understand that. But if I basically wanted to ask you about a person that you know,
Okay.
that I don't know,
Okay.
and because I value the type of person that you are, and more likely trust your opinion and your perception of that person. I know I can keep that as a grain of salt, but it will help me getting to know that other person as well. Obviously, yes, I'm going to get to know that person and so on, but I would like to know what your thoughts, what your views, what your opinions are about that person, because I'm trying to get an overview of who that person may be. Now, I may go to other people as well, and let's say I go to 3 other people. So I might have 4 different opinions about this person. But if I get 3 out of the 4, and these are people that I value their opinion and value the type of person that they are and their perception, more than likely, 3 out of those 4 people, I will feel like, okay, that's probably gives me a better view of who that person is, and I'll take that as a strong consideration. Doesn't necessarily mean that okay, I could put that on the shelf and say, okay, this is how these guys feel about it. So more than likely the person is that way. I'm still going to do my own thing with that person anyway. So I think that's part of human interaction. And you're right, we do more so than others. It's like basically, when a movie comes out and the movie critics, criticize a movie where, they say, oh, this movie was horrible. And I'm not going to listen to them. I want to see for my own self. I'll go watch that movie and realize those guys were crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. The movie was great. So keeping in perspective of that, yes, it is that person's perception, it's that person's opinion, but because I know who that person is and I trust who they are, that still means something to me to a certain extent. Does that make sense?
It's not about making sense. Yeah, because if all what you say, it doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to you.
You give the answer before, as you spoke, and you talk about the movie, you don't want to hear other people's opinion, you want to see it yourself.
Right.
Why will you do it for movie and not to people?
No, because those...
Here is the thing. Every person is like a coin.
Okay.
Coin have 2 sides.
Okay.
Which one you got to know the person? What kind of the side of the coin? Mm-hmm. If you got them on one side, or you got them in the other side, that's already shape your opinion.
Okay.
Because this experience that you have, yeah, you can share it with other people. Cello, you want to know that person? Go meet him and let's talk after, not before.
Oh, okay. Because maybe I'm being influenced by your...
Let's talk after.
Okay.
But you need to have your experience with that person. You may find something that I didn't see, that I didn't hear.
Right.
You ask different questions.
Okay.
You have different interests that you want to know about.
Right.
Yeah. So my experience here is not helping you. It sabotage you. I will tell you, he's a great guy. You're going, what are you talking about?
Right.
his view, let's take political view. His view about